Let's talk for a minute about the perception that some readers have sometimes about reporting in stories that take place from some place that governments can stop us from going into. So it's what happened in Kabul over the past few weeks. It's what happened from hospitals with COVID reporting during the first wave of the pandemic. And it's what happens, for example, with the stories and the reporting about immigrants and their little boats that they come to Spain in from Africa. The first thing that we need to understand, the first fact that we need to understand is that at whatever administrative level we're talking about, in whichever corner of Spain, governments and authorities are the legitimate authority in that place. So they do have the power to stop people from going into those places, normally for quite legitimate reasons. Once we get into these places, we also often have to respect reporting restrictions that are in place. So you can't report on every detail that you see inside a courtroom, depending on what the judge orders. And you can't report on every piece of confidential information or suffering that you see in a hospital. That's private suffering between the patient and the doctors that are helping them. Once you get past all of those barriers, though, what you normally find is loads of public workers trying really hard in difficult situations with limited resources to do complex tasks on all of our behalf. Sometimes those situations are also a bit dangerous. And this is another argument that readers sometimes use for journalists not to report on situations. They say it's too dangerous for a journalist to go to a place, or if a journalist goes to a particular place to report on some important situation, he's going to put others at risk. So if you go into a hospital, you're going to catch COVID, or you're going to infect somebody else with COVID. Or if you go to Kabul with the soldiers and the Air Force, you're going to get shot at by the Taliban or otherwise put the soldiers at risk. All of these things are excuses for not doing good reporting about important public matters. Why? Because we live in democracies. In democracies, information, good reported, is not a luxury, it's a right and a necessity. That's how everybody should be understanding this. Citizens and readers should be demanding their governments and media outlets do this proper reporting. Media outlets should be insisting to governments that this reporting takes place, and governments should not be stopping this from happening, because really they're stopping citizens from knowing what's going on with important public affairs.